You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme.
All right. Ready?
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, Femme
Hello.
Fam.
Hey, Femme Fam. Hello.
Fam.
Welcome
Fam.
back to the show. Tess and I are just,
This may not be our expertise, as we just learned. Welcome, listeners. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So the reason we're beatboxing this morning is we are
If we
here
want to call it that.
but we are here to talk about Jambox.io, which, if you guys have been listening, you know is an ad that's been running for a couple of seasons now. If you guys are brand new, you're going to hear all about it today. But it is an awesome website that has all kinds of music for your needs, whether you are doing a film, whether you're recording an ad, whatever you need it for. Not only do they have music, they also have sound effects. They are affordable. They've got a huge library. They're awesome. We love them, and that's why we keep them as a sponsor. We don't just...
We
are
are
not
only
anybody...
trying to... Yeah, we try to only bring on sponsors who are here to make your lives better.
Yes.
And are clearly here to support the filmmaker community, which you will clearly see our guest is all about.
Yes, and our guest today to represent Jambox is Opher Yisreali, and we spoke with him and Elliot over email for a while when we were setting up the sponsorship and just learning about what Jambox really provides. And then we went on the site and used it ourselves, and we were like, this is amazing. Because no other site really does what they do. There's a lot of music libraries out there that are, either free royalties or cheap or whatever, but they offer not just affordable music and sound effects, but a really flexible plan, because you can subscribe, you can get it a la carte. There are multiple subscription tier options and multiple ways to search. So you're going to find what you want. You're going to find what you need. Yes.
You're going to find what you need. They have playlists to find inspiration. We get in on that and how it really tailors you to keep having this further experience and journey into creating the sound and the vibe and the whole experience of with special effects, even like just all these different specialized playlists that you just don't see on other sites. It doesn't exist. So without further ado, Jambox.io, connecting filmmakers with ridiculously good music and special effects. Enjoy the show. Guys, we have Jambox.io, but Jambox, as we like to call it, our sponsor on the show today. We love them, and we finally just wanted to have a more in-depth, personal conversation with one of the founders, and Opher, welcome on the show. He is here.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, listeners, you've heard a little bit about Jambox from our ads that have been running for a couple of seasons now. But in case you're a new listener, haven't heard the ad yet, or if you're one of those people that skip through the ads, we get it. It's okay. Opher, will you fill in our listeners what Jambox is, what they do?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, we're in the music space, right? So we decided to open a music company with a focus on, building a catalog that's accessible to filmmakers, editors, music supervisors, anyone that's creating visual footage and wants non-stock sounding music for whatever project they're working on. We really try to, give our all and go the extra mile to find really high quality artists, take those artists, bring them into kind of a development funnel that we've created for ourselves, meaning that we'll talk to them about the music that, essentially we want to include on the platform. We will take that music, we'll mix it on our end, we'll master it, we'll make sure it sounds the best that it can before it goes up on the platform. So I guess unlike some companies that look for music that has already been created and they pretty much just take whatever they could find and post it right away on the site, we try to be a little bit more hands-on in the development process of, of the music, because we know how it ends up getting used because we interact with our clients on the film side a lot. So we constantly get feedback, about how the music sounds, about how it's arranged. A lot of times, depending on the type of media it's being used in, they'll tell us, the track starts out great, but
there's no
it doesn't
build.
go anywhere.
Yeah, there's
right?
no build. There's
Yeah.
no climactic moment.
There's no build. There's no climactic. There's no crescendo at the end. There's nothing. So we keep, we kind of catalog all that information, and we try to, take that and put that into the type of music that we produce.
Yeah.
And I think because we listen, and because we are not passive in just, kind of just taking what we get a lot of submissions all the time, right? From all different types of musicians from across the world. And a lot of them, the music might be good, but it just doesn't fit a certain format in the filmmaking side. So not for all, you don't always need a crescendo. You don't always need a big build, but there are those types of media that you absolutely do. So yeah.
It's having
so
range,
so anyway,
and like
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so with Jambox anyway, so one side is finding really good music and making sure it sounds the best that it can, and making it available to filmmakers. And on the other hand is to try to with Jambox, we want to try to have a business model that makes it easy for, especially for smaller filmmakers, for those that are starting out in the film industry, not to challenge them with price. If they can't afford it, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't have access to quality stuff. It just means that, we'll give them access to that quality stuff if they're working on smaller projects. And as they grow, and if they get involved in much larger scale projects, the pricing scale will change over time, but we'll give you all the possible opportunities to get in, even on the low end, and not prevent you from doing that. So that's kind of the idea.
Thank you, fam.
Yeah.
That's what we need for our emerging filmmakers who are listening, and even those who are more experienced, like the licensing and all the other stuff. If you're getting custom work done, it costs a lot to like license and get something high quality. So that the fact that you offer that is so, like, we celebrate that. Like, because that's so tangible.
It also offers,
that's awesome.
It offers flexibility too, a lot of sites that do something similar, but is, they'll give you like a package of music or whatever for a certain price, which is already a lot more money than you guys are charging. But then it's like, it's this package that it's just that, and you don't have the opportunity to search these other songs. And like, you really offer a lot of flexibility with your plans for a really reasonable price. And that's just for people like us that, we might just need a little snippet for an ad, or we might need a full song that's going to be like a beautiful moment in our film. We have all those different things. We need flexibility. So that's just really great that you offer that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, first of all, it's a new service, right? So we haven't been around with Jambox. I mean, I've been doing this for quite a long time. I started my first music company in the licensing space maybe like 16 years ago already. And, same idea, but catering to really only the high end of the industry. So with, my first company, we went after, the large ad agencies, the film studios, trailer companies, the network stations and all that. With a different business model, it was really catering to those high-end clients. Contracts are negotiated. There's a lot of legality that also young filmmakers don't necessarily understand. There's negotiating contracts. What rights are you getting versus what rights you're not getting? The more as time evolved and things change, things change in how people consume music, things change in how people buy products on the internet in general, right? People like, for instance, people like subscriptions these days, right? They like to pay very little money, and have flexibility and have like an open-ended thing that they can use as much as they want, like in Netflix. You're not limited to how many movies you can see on Netflix, right? You pay that one monthly fee and you can just do whatever. No one's telling you what to do, what not to do. You know that if you pay that, also that you're protected legally. You're not watching these films in a pirated way, right? You're watching them legally. No one's coming after you. Same idea with Jambox. Is like, we had to take, our experience in the music industry and just kind of keep up with the times, make it accessible, make it feel like, if I pay this amount of money, I have freedom. And I think the feeling of freedom is essential. I love the feeling of freedom. I don't want people to tell me what to do, to limit me in any way, to
have to read the fine print.
and all that
time. Like I need it clear. I need it easy and accessible, and that's what Jambox allows. The platform you built, which is online, by the way, folks. So like you head on over to jambox.io if you haven't heard that enough already from us. But it's just an easy, accessible platform to toggle with. We'll get into that more about how user friendly it is. That's another aspect I love. But yeah, Tessa and I were like, back we talk about our first project a lot, which was Desert Flowers Are Western. And just prime example, would have loved to have a Fleetwood Mac song on. Opher, why is that ridiculous? Tell us why. Other than the members of the band alone are like 7 people or whatever. Like when looking into music licensing, even for that kind of that song that we wanted the chain, by the way, but like we learned you don't just have to buy the rights from or get licensing permission and pay out to just, the artists themselves, which again, this is a whole group. So every single person plus any writers, plus the producer, plus like it all adds up. So if anyone's new to the space and doesn't have that awareness of what it costs to even get like a cool song on your
I think we just thought it was going to be a lot of money and that was it. We're like, maybe it's in the budget, who knows? But like, then was like, wait, it's not just throwing money at the problem. It's like a whole process.
Yeah, you have to get in touch with the publisher. You have to get in touch with the master owner, which is the record label, and then they have to get in touch with the artist, because the artist might want to have like approval rights on what projects it's being used in. It all depends on like what legal relationship the artist has with the label. And then there's also the publisher. So we do, we have a custom music division. We do like a lot of remixes and readaptations of known songs for trailers.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
which is very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. It's actually really nice when we do that, because we don't have to worry about the clearance side, because we know it's being used by whichever studio is going to clear this. They're going to take care of all the clearance, but it's a studio that has the budget. It's a Paramount Picture flick, right? So they pretty much give us, and the trailer company that's cutting the trailer for them, they'll give them free reign, create, from a creative standpoint. They'll tell them, listen, you do whatever you need to do to make this trailer pop, right? So whatever song, we don't care what, but just give us something that's going to get people excited to go see that movie. So when we get to, we're usually given, the song that they want to incorporate into the trailer, because it has to do with tying in a certain lyric usually, and a general style. Even though the musical style is sometimes irrelevant, it's more about like how recognizable that song is. Does it have a lyric that could tie into the theme? And maybe something about the original production ties into the period that you want to kind of touch on in the film. But then you take it and you completely break it apart and modernize it, make it way more cinematic, layer it with a million different layers of sound effects and synths and whatever, percussion, whatever else you need to beef it up and make it feel like a trailer. And then we don't have to worry about the clearance, which is, it's a nice perk which is not the case if you are the filmmaker and it's your project and you want a famous song, or a known song on your project, because then like you said, it's both expensive and it's it's a pretty elaborate process to get all the approvals and permissions from all the parties involved. Yeah, for sure.
Well, question in regards just to, I'm just going to insert this just out of curiosity for us independent filmmakers who don't have a big budget studio behind us. Could we get somewhat a similar customized quote for a trailer piece where we're like, here's a song we really want to use, but it's probably too expensive to like get the rights of and all of that. Can we get almost a similar sounding, like same thing almost, and a lyric
that,
how does that work?
That is a challenge. I mean, there are companies out there that specialize in what's called sound-alikes, but it's kind of like a
gray area.
It's a bit of a gray area legally, because if it sounds too close to an original song and it's obvious that you're trying to rip off the original song, or maybe you reached out to the original publisher and label and they gave you a price and you're like, oh, there's no way I can afford that. And then you go and use a sound alike and that company ends up seeing your trailer somewhere. That leaves an area that is a gray area, and you can, expose yourself to legal liabilities there, which you might not necessarily want to do. There are other ways to get around it. You might be inspired by something musically, but if you're willing to, again, be creative and to try to understand what it is that, other than, if you're just looking for the fame or the recognizability, that's a problem, because it's famous. Everybody knows it. You're not going to get that with an original piece of music.
You can't do Katy Perry fireworks and have people not know that that's what you're doing.
Exactly. But you might find a piece of music that gives you the same feeling. It just won't have that recognizable, aspect to it.
For sure. No, that's great distinction. Just, I'm asking not just for us, but for anyone else who's like, can we get away with, how does that legally work? And it's great to know that, in those cases, it's a gray area, and you have to be aware, don't do a commercial song. Just try to use it as inspo to find something else through the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Like we have, I don't know, like an example is, take Tarantino films, right? Which I thought that your Western had some, like I saw, right? So it had
that
inspirations,
right? Because we were going with the spaghetti Western vibe, which Tarantino loves, and was also drawing from the Sergio Leone shots and all of that vibe. So yes, we're huge Tarantino fans, but love Sergio Leone, like that classic caricature kind of vibe, sound, all of that. I love it. So you were saying to the music.
So with the sound, like there's a certain sound, like certain Tarantino films have this kind of like a fusion of like surf guitar with Mexican horns, and it's like a mishmash of this worlds that collide in a weird way. So we produced a few albums. We have this composer that we work with, and he's really good in blending styles. So we did a few of these mashup albums. So if you type in Tarantino on Jambox, you'll get certain suggestions that will remind you at least of music that was used on at least some of his projects, So
that's so cool. I didn't even think you could search a director on there. So that's really awesome.
Well, we tag it if we think that, because he's such an iconic director that I could see people just typing in his name and seeing what comes up, maybe.
No, smart.
So we figured might as well tag the music with some of those keywords inside, which is interesting because, again, because he's a director, we can tag him with his name. If he was a musician, that's, again, a legal issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There are issues with tagging. You cannot legally tag, I don't know,
Hans
whatever.
Zimmer, would you be able to do him?
Hans Zimmer, he might be a bit more forgiving because he's not a commercial artist, but still, yes, Hans Zimmer would be. Or if you I know, you tag Eminem or Rolling Stones or something like that, that cannot show up as part of your keyword metadata set on a website.
Okay.
Which is whatever. It's just, again,
Yeah.
things that I've learned throughout the years in this industry.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we find ways, I think that's if maybe that's a little segue into a topic that I think could be interesting for your listeners if they go to Jambox and check it out, is like, how do you search for what you want, right?
Yeah.
Tessa, I'm seriously digging Jambox. The fam needs to hear about their extensive music and sound effect library.
I agree. Not only do they have a huge library created by Hollywood-level composers, but you can search through it all based on criteria like genre and mood.
Plus, they even have detailed stems you can use to create your own soundtracks from the elements they provide. You can literally be your own composer.
6,000 unique tracks and tens of thousands of stems, plus over 10,000 sound effects. Carolina, that's amazing.
Oh, it gets better. They even gave us a discount code for our listeners. 10% off with FEM10. Connecting filmmakers with ridiculously good music and sound effects. Go and visit jambox.io and start leveling up your sound production.
Exactly. Again, that's code FEMME, F-E-M-M-E 10 at jambox.io.
So there are certain ways there are these tools that we've developed on the site, whether it's the playlist areas, or if it's the actual search bar that you can freehand search in, or if it's the keyword searches, the categories that you can search by mood, by genre, by instrument, by country, or like ethnicity, different ways to search. So if you kind of know, like, if you don't find what you're looking for with the initial term that you use to describe it, try to expand that thought, right? So let's take Tarantino as an example, right? So let's say you type in Tarantino, and let's say we didn't tag anything with Tarantino on there. And let's say we're taking one of his spaghetti Western, surf guitar mixed with Mexican horn type of a crossover. Yeah. So I would use those words that I just said. I would say, the way I hear his music is, surf guitar, Mexican or horns, or spaghetti Western,
Spanish guitar,
Spanish guitar. A lot of his stuff has this retro vintage feel to it, right? It doesn't sound like from now. It sounds like it's from maybe the 60s or 70s. So 60s is a keyword, 70s is a keyword, retro, all these things you could type in or try to select from the drop-down menus, and they would kind of start to bring in things that would get you closer and closer to what you'd be looking for. We also have, for instance, like, a vintage or retro sounding playlist, and that would definitely fall under that category, right? So, again, just, I think searchability, different companies have slightly different ways that they, let you search for music on their site. They use different keywords to tag their music. So it's never exactly the same across music sites. So I think if you find a site that you like their music, there is a bit of a learning curve in the search process, but then the more you search, the more you try different methods to get to an end result, the more you start to understand like the logic behind why you found what you find and using which keywords, and then the more comfortable you will be in the future when you're looking for other, pieces of music, I think. So
I think another great point to highlight are those playlists. Like, if you just generally are kind of lost and not sure, you guys have certain playlists for someone to tune into and kind of be like, oh wait, that's the genre or vibe that I'm trying to emulate here. What are those keywords? Oh, okay. And then you can like copy that over, which I haven't seen on other platforms, like these playlists. And it's great to get inspiration too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just kind of like, hey, I'm new to the platform. I need a summary of things, or I want to just browse. I want to just see in general what playlist styles you created here, because it'll tell me what I can expect, like from the depth of the catalog. Like we have, we put a lot of effort into, having classical music playlists and world music playlists, and then, more rock genres, electronic genres, playlists by mood, just, things that inspire, things that are more melancholic, things that feel luxurious or sophisticated, things that could fit technology products, things that, so it's kind of like not even musical genre related, but more how would that music be used? Because it within, for instance, I don't know, the luxurious and sophisticated playlist, you could have so many different styles of music in that playlist, but all could complement, like I'm doing a commercial for new fragrance, right? I could go maybe more classical music and it could work. I could go more, like future-based, electronic, stylish, and it could work, if I'm going for that, kind of a younger audience maybe. So it all depends on how you want to color your footage, but it would all give you a feeling that this is a luxury product.
I'm working for a luxury fitness company, so keep that in mind. Shout out to LuxFit on her app. They're diving.
I still need to do, by the way, a fitness workout playlist. And you know what? I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to put you on spot on the air, but no, it's like we're reaching out more and more to people that we work with on the film side, and we're really curious to see, after using the platform, what type of playlist they would put. Like, what are their favorite tracks on our system? We don't let us select them for you. Why don't you show other people what you're into, and then we'll kind of post, hey, this is, your playlist, and obviously mention the podcast name, your names, and people will be like, oh, cool, that's what they're into,
Very cool. I love that little Femme Regard playlist.
The Femme Regard playlist, exactly, on Jambox. So
Or I think that's such a fun addition too. Like, it's the fact that you already have so many different ways to search is awesome. Like, I know, because we've used a lot of like just stock songs, in the past, and it's like they have it like separated by genre, but that's it. It's not even like the genre is so like rock, jazz, classical, and it's like there's so much to sift through. Yeah, exactly. So just the fact that you have so many different ways to search, I think is amazing. And I love the idea of like users being able to create their own playlist too, because it's like, for instance, for us, for our fans, like our fans know what kind of our style and our vibe is. So like to have a playlist that's like the Femme playlist, they already kind of probably know what sort of music we're going to have on there. And they're going to know if they want that for their films or whatever, So I love that.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Nice. No, I love that. And I think, if you ever are looking for feedback, please, Opher. We're all here. We're your guinea pigs. You can use this for any feedback. But I think to do workout stuff would be keen, just for like the other kind of projects I'm producing. I feel like that is something that I'm not seeing, or like in the space, or it's not easily accessible, or they're just like kind of I've also browsed your site, but I haven't quite found the one track yet. So just throwing
I want to understand more about like what is that like, what is that style of music? I do a lot of like Peloton stuff, right? So I get exposed to so many playlists just through their different exercises, and it depends, all you do, like
yoga meditation is going to be different.
Yoga meditation is one thing. The bike's another thing. The bike has so many different types of playlists. Like, I mean, it's one day it's hip hop, the next day it's like 80s, then it's like, like deep house, and then it could be anything. It's like so varied. So
that's true.
It really depends what you're into.
That's so true. Yeah. That's a good point. But no, I love it.
Which I think they've done really well, by the way, as a company, how they incorporated that, and I think it's also up to the individual personalities on that platform, the different instructors. Some of them, you could tell that they're super involved with the music and create their own playlist and are really meticulous about it. And others, maybe they let the platform do it for them, and they're not really hands-on about it. Right. But they have great music on that platform.
Good to
No,
know.
that's
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
No,
no,
that is
so,
interesting because workout
yeah.
stuff is so like dependent on the person that's doing the workout, right?
Yeah.
Because some people their pump up music is
Totally
going to
true.
be, you know, hip hop and rap, and some people it's going to be like classic rock, and you know, it's so different for everybody.
Yeah. And some people, maybe one day it's this and one day it's that, right? So that's like what I'm like, you know,
Yeah, me
I'm like,
too.
I'm either
one day I'll be
hip
into
hop
this
or
and
EDM. You're like bass, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's. I mean, deep house. Like I vary. It's like, are we lifting weights
Yeah.
or are we trying to run for our lives today? What's the vibe?
Yeah.
No, but I'm gonna
But-
go back on to your platform. Okay, so we've heard now how easy it is to search and find specific music. You have playlists. I want to also touch on your special effects, because that's something that's also really hard for filmmakers to find, and especially independent filmmakers. Like we can't always find a special effects person. So what's the palette that we're looking at here, and like what's the filtering on that?
I mean, it's in constant development. The sound effects filter is at this time it's pretty much a search bar. So you type in, because it's so varied, like sound effects, unlike music, there's so many different keywords you can describe sound effect. I mean, it's like life around you is a sound effect, right? So it's like whatever you're exposed to, it's a sound, right? So and you want to have as many of those different sounds on a sound effect engine. Obviously, we don't have all of them, but we're constantly developing this engine, including more and more sound effects. Every month we're kind of delivering more and more variety. And we kind of try to think about it as put on there things that would be most likely used in the greatest number of productions, right? It's also a lot of user feedback driven, so we do get, users writing us, hey, I couldn't find this, boom, right away, we catalog that and we send that out to the different sound effect creators that we work with to make sure that it's included in future uploads.
That's awesome.
Also in sound effects, I don't know if you've had a chance to notice, but we've also taken a playlist approach also to that, where we group them into many, many different types of usages, from outdoor sounds to indoor sounds, to different rooms in a house, industrial sounds, more synthetic sounds that might be used in trailers, like rises and hits and crashes, sci-fi sounds, whatever. I mean, glass sounds, water sounds, ice sounds, this sound, that sound. It's never ending. It really is. Animal sounds and humans laughing and doing this and crowd sounds, and I'm in a stadium, I'm in a bar. I mean, it's never ending, really is never ending. User feedback is crucial for that, and we constantly try to think of areas that we haven't yet tackled, and then within areas that we've already tackled, how to beef those up with nuances within that same area. It keeps it interesting. It's like,
I love it. No, what a fun.
I can never wake up in the morning and say, I don't know what I should be doing today. There's always something to do, because it's work that never ends, essentially.
I mean,
and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing, because it's a labor of love, just like filmmaking. I think I think music and film are go hand in hand, and they're both creativity driven disciplines, and you could tell when somebody really loves what they do. It shows in their work, and that's kind of how I try to inject everything that goes in Jambox. It passes through that filter, that of excitement of, we love what we're doing. We're not just, let's just have a bunch of stuff up there just for the sake of quantity. Really not about that. It's all about, let's really feel that we're proud, about everything that's up there. Obviously, it, different people like different things,
Sure.
or, sometimes even people like different styles of production. You might hear two pieces of orchestral music and like, well, I like the way that this one sounds better than this one. So there's always there's always that subjectivity, but I think we've been getting really good feedback up until now. People like it. People like the quality. They like the user interface. They feel that it looks different from a lot of the other sites. That it looks like, hey, you're trying to make it a little bit more fun. You thought about how all the different categories, and the nice thing is that from all the signups that we've had and all the users that have adopted the platform, very, very little, people don't write to us with question, hey, I didn't understand how to do this or how to use that, or this didn't work for me. Like, I don't understand. I never got the email that tells me to do this or that, which can happen, things go to junk folders, or people just sometimes they don't understand, it's a new website. They're like, I don't get it. How do I do that? We haven't gotten that so far. I'm not saying we won't, but so far we haven't gotten that, which
that's a good sign.
For a new site, it's a good sign. I'm pretty psyched about that. I didn't think it would be that way. I think it would be a lot of things that seem broken that we need to fix before we kind of reach a certain plateau and it just works. But so far, so good.
Yeah.
So pretty psyched about that.
Yeah. And I think, too, what's really awesome about the amount of things that you have and the ways that you have to search them and how it's all organized is like, it's not only allowing you to find exactly what you want in a really particular way, but it's also great for inspiration. I think we briefly mentioned this with like the music, but also with the sound effects. It's like sometimes you forget like, I need like a room tone of, you can
Cars
hear that I'm
back,
exactly anything like that, that it's like
an apartment, like things that you didn't
things that you forget about, so at least on the website, it's like, oh, if I'm looking in this type of sound effects, it's like, oh yeah, actually that's perfect. And I didn't even think about needing that, so I think that's a really great feature that is kind of almost accidental, it's like an extra thing that's makes it even better that you guys offer.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, that's what it's there for, essentially. It's like it is to make you, as you're browsing, to have thoughts pop up in your head that you didn't go in thinking, right? Just because it's suggested, right? And that's the whole idea, is to have these kind of like, it's just to have non-traditional ways of displaying essentially similar information as to other sites, but sometimes if you switch it up a little bit, just tiny little things, it just kind of brings a new energy into the whole process. So
I love when right away when I first met with you, I sensed your passion behind it, and it's very clear right away how particular you are, how excited you are about the different musicians you have working on all these different tracks, and that you are very specific, that it is high quality and it is unique and different than the other platforms. So I just want to point that out, because you touched, you could just, listeners, you can tell how excited this man is about the music and the platform, but you really did break it down about how particular and you're supporting the musicians in that way too, and that's so wonderful. It's like, again, like this labor of love. So I think that is really special, and why we love partnering with Jambox.
And it's exactly.
Ooh.
Same here. And it's nice to know that it's a big community of filmmakers out there. It seems like,
oh my gosh,
everybody's knowing. I saw that you had Mike on the show, right?
Love Mike Petchy.
We also know Mike, and it's like, it's a nice community of people that all, they're kind of doing what they love to do. And it's nice that they're all bumping into one another and that they know each other. And it seems like everyone's helping each other elevate, which is a nice thing.
It's really cool for us to be so tapped in now to this filmmaker community. Like, it is LA based, but I mean, it grows beyond that. But it's like a lot of, our guests have gotten to know each other, and we see them working together, and we work with our guests. And then we see like people like you guys, Jambox, like being guests on other shows that we're friends with. And just, it's so cool to see how everybody just kind of intermingles and getting to to
and
be a part of
supports
that.
and unites and like,
Yeah.
are here to spread the word. No, I love it. I agree, Tessa. I love it so much. Something else I really want to highlight is your start your free trial aspect. What can filmmakers expect if they want to start their free trial today?
Absolutely. So we have 2 free trial options. One is a 30-day free trial, and it's for our what's called the creator plan. That creator plan caters to let's call it the individual creators that pretty much work on their own projects, whether they're a YouTuber or any type of a vlogger, podcaster, anyone that has their own show and is not creating projects for a third-party client of theirs, right? So that plan is perfect for them. And if they're hesitant, they've never heard of Jambox, they want to check it out, they could sign up for a 30-day free trial. Within that 30-day, you want to cancel, any music that you used on projects within that 30 days stays with that project. You don't have to remove it. You don't have to, worry about that. There's no commitment, essentially. We've never had anybody that signed up and canceled, so we're psyched about that.
That's
but
amazing. That's amazing.
It's awesome. So it's part of the whole concept of let's make it easy for people. We're not trying to cheat anyone out of $1. We're not selling some shiesty service. We're not trying to hide behind anything. Here's the catalog. It takes time to know the catalog. We understand. Take 30 days, browse, download, use it, see how it all works. You're happy, great. You're not, all good, we part ways. And then we also, for those pros out there that, want to consider the commercial plan, which lets you kind of, create content for clients, for corporate projects, for digital advertising, for wedding films, for, whatever kind of, more pro style projects out there. They have a 7-day free trial. Same deal, they have access to everything. They could check it out, use it, don't like it, cancel. If not, continue, and we can be friends for many years to come. So
No, that's great. And the pricing, and let's just transition and touch upon the other pricing options that you have. If there's like, an a la carte kind of service or, a one-off.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, because we started with the subscription plans, our low subscription plan actually caters to students. So we're making a big push into reaching out to universities. We were just approved by the NYU Film School as their a preferred vendor for them.
Ooh.
So they're going to actually, which is amazing because, I think it's the larger film school in the country. And so they're going to, create posts about us, let all their students know that, we're their preferred choice. And, we actually did the same thing. There's another smaller school, the Colorado Film School, Colorado, I think it's the Institute or something, and quite a few other film schools that we're in discussions with, because we realize, those are the people that probably need the most help right now. So let's create a plan that's $6 a month for them. They have access to everything, and once they graduate, they can update. They can update their plan to one of the higher plans. But as long as they're a student, they have our back, and we're giving them kind of like the best rate possible. We haven't seen any other, music site that caters specifically with a plan to students. So, we thought that was pretty cool, and we're hoping that people discover that we bring quality to the table and just stay with us afterwards. So that was good.
For sure.
Then we have the smaller creator plan that has a 30-day free trial, and that's $9.99 a month. And the commercial plan is $19.99 a month. If you need to go beyond the commercial plan, let's say you're a television network, or you work on projects that, that the budget is above a certain range. And I think the cutoff is, I believe it's projects that are above $100,000 in price need to get a custom quote. So they could get a plan, but they would need to reach out to us, say, okay, we're working with this budget, or we want to use your catalog on, network television,
Right.
or we want to buy it for a feature film that's distributed by a major. So we're obviously not going to give Paramount Picture a license for $20 a month, right? So we want to compensate both ourselves and our artists. And so there's an option to get a custom quote on the site if you kind of exceed the tiered plans that we've put on the site. Then we also offer an a la carte option. Anybody that doesn't want to plan, let's say they have a budget for one song for one project and they just want that, they add it to the cart on the site. There's a cart, and then it asks you, hey, is this for a film? Is it for a TV show documentary? Is it for a corporate project or an ad? So it has a few different options. Then it asks you your budget, and then it asks you where you want to distribute it. Like, is it just online? Is it broadcast? Is it theatrical? Is it at an event? All these questions, and it prices it right there and then. So you see exactly as you're clicking these things, the price constantly adjusts, and then you see what the price is, and you can just check out with one song if you want. So
easy.
That is also something that not all sites. Some sites are just subscription plans. Other sites don't offer subscription plans. They just do single songs. So we're kind of trying to cover, all bases with what we've done.
Yeah, I love that. I love all the different options, and it doesn't put you as like an independent filmmaker in the same category as, Paramount. Like you said, it bases it on what your needs are and what you can afford. And so I love that there's those different options.
Exactly the idea.
That is,
it took us way longer to program and create the site, because all these things are, we built the site from scratch, right?
Wow.
So we worked with developers, and we didn't use like a template or a Wix or a Shopify or any of those services. So it's like, okay, let's build a search engine, let's build a payment system, let's include the option to do single checkout, or so all these things go into the development budget and development time. But it took almost 2.5 years to build this thing, and finally, it's out. So
huge congrats, because that is something that you just don't get at any other site. And the fact that these quotes are instant. Like, I thought you were gonna say, then you'll submit it to us, we'll review it, and we'll get back to you. Are you kidding?
No.
And did I hear Creator $9.99 a month? Like, what? Like, you guys, Starbucks. Like, that's, or an LA coffee. Starbucks is a little cheaper. But
exactly.
Coffee to LA. Like, it's that easy. It's like a no-brainer. So I look forward to incorporating that, especially with our sci-fi, the special effects, diving into that and all of that. That sounds super exciting, super tangible, and easy to use. And I can imagine that it took so long, but wow, this is it's definitely hope it just continues to reward you.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with? As they know, they can go to jambox.io. I just want to make sure .io is not just .com, you guys. But anything else that you want to leave them with? Does Jambox have any social media or anything like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say definitely follow us on social media. Just put in jambox.io into Facebook, Instagram. Those kind of our main platforms that we push stuff on, because we do, from time to time, we'll give out further discounts on joining the service. We always have Black Friday deals, or, whatever random deals that we just push out there and make it even that much more affordable to join the service. So definitely check us out on socials, and you'll get a lot of artist features. You can get up close and personal. We have a lot of video features. So if you ever want to see what our, you could actually see the artist and listen to them speak and get the vibe, get their personality. That's, it's always cool. Nice. It's not just a piece of music. So definitely follow us on there. And if you have any suggestions, always, we love to get suggestions from filmmakers and about anything, about how the site works, about the music, about the searchability, whatever it is, we're kind of right in there with you guys. So we want to keep it fun. We want to keep it working well and relevant, the content be relevant. So for sure.
No, that's awesome. And that, fam, if there's something he's literally saying if there's something you're not seeing or finding, like reach out, like they'll make it happen, essentially. So that's really exciting to have that kind of that the accessibility of having a back and forth and like getting what you want out of it. I mean, that's incredible. So thank you for offering that. Even, you know, so that's amazing.
Thank you guys.
Opher, it's a delight.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Femme Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femmeregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.